Inside Julia's dimly lit home, long shadows dance across the worn furniture. A pair of small, untouched children's shoes sit near the door, symbols of a life paused. Julia sits motionless on the couch, her eyes fixed on the untouched tea in her hands. A knock at the door startles Julia from her reverie. Margaret stands in the doorway, offering a lifeline. Julia Morgan? I'm Dr. Margaret Bell. I run a support group for parents like you. May I come in? Julia and Margaret sit in silence at the kitchen table, Julia's eyes betraying deep caution. Margaret offers a gentle reassurance. You don't have to talk today. I just want to let you know you're not alone. Margaret extends a card to Julia, a silent promise of support. Julia stares at the card, her face an enigmatic mask. In the church basement, soft music fills the room, and a circle of metal chairs creates an odd serenity. Harold and Elaine Turner sit hand in hand, their grip a silent testament to shared sorrow. Marissa Gale maintains a flawless facade, her smile failing to reach her eyes. Victor Cho, ever watchful, constantly glances over his shoulder, his anxiety palpable. Lisa Broadus' red eyes reveal her recent tears, her grief raw and unconcealed. In the dimly lit room, Julia, Harold, Victor, Marissa, and Lisa sit in a circle, their nervous energy palpable as shadows dance around them. Harold's voice cracks as he displays a faded crayon drawing, a sky full of stars. Clara drew this. She said the stars would help her find her way back if she ever got lost. Victor clutches a cracked smartwatch, its screen reflecting the faint light as he says, "This was Thomas. It lights up every night at 3:17 a.m. I don't know why." Marissa carefully opens a worn music box. Ben loved this music box. Sometimes it plays by itself. Lisa, eyes red-rimmed, clutches a plush rabbit, her voice trembling as Julia hesitates. Noah loved dinosaurs. These are his raptor pajamas. Julia wakes abruptly, the morning light casting shadows across her room. Panic tightens her chest as she realizes Noah's dinosaur pajamas are missing. She spots the closet door ajar, a sliver of darkness hinting at secrets within. In the living room, she finds the pajamas, neatly folded on the couch, still warm. Julia lies in bed, her expression serene. The closet door creaks open ominously. A child's voice whispers, "Mom?" Under harsh fluorescent lights, grieving parents gather in a circle, each lost in their private pain. Julia clutches her son's pajamas, her voice cracking as she recounts. These were Noah's favorites. He said they made him invisible from monsters. He wasn't wearing them the night he died. I keep thinking, maybe if he had been. Janine, a newcomer, stiffens, her eyes darting around as she questions. What monsters? Janine continues, her voice trembling. My daughter used to talk about them. Things that stood at the corners of heat. Wesley, staring blankly at the floor, murmurs. Mine too. I thought it was the meds. Now I'm not sure. Margaret's voice resonates with an ethereal quality. Sometimes children see what we can't. They're more open, more receptive. That's why their loss leaves a doorway open. Julia lies awake in bed, her eyes drawn to the shut closet door, the dinosaur pajamas hidden beneath her pillow. The hallway light flickers, then dies, as faint footsteps echo like a child's, drawing Julia into the darkness. Her phone flashlight pierces the dark, revealing a childlike shape at the hallway's end, its eyes glowing with an eerie red light. Mom! Its cold whispers Noah's faint voice, as Julia calls out. Noah? You let me go, echoes Noah's distorted voice, as Julia recoils, dropping her phone in terror. The hallway is empty, the unsettling figure vanished into the silence. Julia bursts into the support group room, her arrival shattering the morning stillness. Victor stares back, his expression a mask of grim understanding. Victor, I saw him. I saw Noah, or something that looked like him. Julia's voice trembles, a mix of fear and disbelief. Victor's voice is low and grave. That's how it starts. First they look like your kids, then they show you what they really are. They're not memories, they're echoes. And Margaret, she's not helping us let go. She's helping them come through. Bathed in morning light, Julia stands in her kitchen, a picture of domestic tranquility. Noah's drawing of her stands alone with a tall, ominous shadow looming, capturing her attention. A wave of unease washes over her as she studies the unsettling image. Her hands tremble slightly as she lifts the drawing, the first sign that something is amiss. Victor cautiously pushes open the door, entering his dim apartment. Julia enters cautiously as Victor gestures towards flickering surveillance monitors. Julia asks with concern, You said they're echoes. What does that mean? Victor taps a monitor, revealing Marissa's unsettling reflection. Julia murmurs, her voice laced with unease. That's not right. Victor declares with conviction, None of this is. Margaret's group isn't therapy, it's a ritual. Margaret stands before the group, the antique mirror looming behind her, promising both reflection and revelation. Julia observes the group, her unease intensifying as she notes their unnatural stillness and vacant expressions. Margaret's voice cuts through the silence. Tonight, we welcome the next phase of healing, the reflection ceremony. Lisa Brody steps forward, her voice echoing eerily. I can hear her, she's behind the glass. Margaret's gaze pierces Julia's resolve. You're already on the other side, Julia. You just haven't accepted it. Julia sits alone in her dimly lit living room, enveloped by shadows of grief. The eerie silence is broken by the crackling of the baby monitor, a chilling reminder of what was lost. Clutching a framed photo of Noah, Julia's knuckles whiten with anguish as the monitor whispers, Mommy, I'm cold. Let me in. Julia bursts into the nursery, her heart racing, as a sliver of light escapes the partly open door. The baby monitor echoes a chilling plea. Mommy, I'm cold. Mommy, open the door. A visible frost creeps across the windows, as Julia denies reality. Noah? No, this isn't real. You're not real. A haunting whisper cuts through the cold. You said you'd never leave me. Julia cautiously opens the closet, revealing a forgotten mirror. In the heart of the abandoned basement, Julia and Victor confront a scene of decay and forgotten rituals. Victor warns, I told you it wouldn't stop. Once the echo takes root, it calls. Julia, voice laced with realization, declares, She knew. Margaret knew all of it. She's been feeding it for years. The lights flicker ominously, casting long, dancing shadows across the ritual circle. The silence shatters as a mirror cracks, its surface spiderwebbing with fractures. Margaret's voice echoes, taunting Julia. You still think this is about your son, Julia? He's long gone. What you see now is what's left when love dies and guilt lives on. In the dimly lit room, Julia sits silently, clutching a child's toy dinosaur, the room heavy with sorrow. Victor Cho stands, his voice filled with agitation as he addresses the group. That's not him. That's what's left after the grief eats through everything human. In the circle, Julia tightly grips Noah's toy, lost in silent whispers as she prepares for a fateful act. With a violent act, she hurls the toy into the mirror's depths, setting off a cataclysmic chain of events. The mirror unleashes an unearthly howl as flames erupt, shattering reality and distorting every reflection. Overwhelmed, some collapse while Margaret's scream pierces the chaos as black tendrils rise and consume her in a horrifying display of grief. Julia awakens on the couch, basking in the sunlight that warms her skin. She walks to the backyard. The candle her nightly vigil for Noah has extinguished, symbolizing her acceptance. She chooses not to relight it, a final act of letting go. Months later, Julia sits before the camera, her face illuminated, a carefully constructed calm masking eyes that betray a heavy truth. With deliberate slowness, Julia's hand reaches into her pocket, fingers brushing against worn paper, a subtle tremor revealing grief's lingering power. The shadow that once clung to her is gone, yet a lingering awareness of grief's power remains, a subtle tremor in her hand as she says, Grief doesn't bring back the dead, but it can bring something else. Something hungry,